FM WEZC. News time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock.
Learn more about your health and wellness options in Central Illinois? Visit stealthwellness.com or click on my banner ad at DeWittDailyNews.com. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, show you some simple, under-the-radar ways to improve and take control of your health.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
News time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Coming up in news on this Thursday, DeWitt County Board is planning to hear from Enel Green Energy tonight at its monthly meeting. The city of Clinton took a step forward Tuesday night in rebuilding Kiwanis Park. That story coming up this morning in news. The DeWitt County Farm Bureau is hosting its annual tractor drive fundraiser and its annual meeting this weekend. Maroa-Forsyth Schools new superintendent is focused on relationship building and establishing a new culture. And Warrensburg-Latham High School has rolled out a new program that mentors first-year students. Those stories coming up in news this morning. But first, we stream to Facebook and YouTube. It is brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The DeWitt County Board plans to hear from representatives from Enel Green Energy tonight at its monthly meeting. Board Chair Dan Matthews says this visit from the developer of the Alta Farms 2 wind farm in northwest DeWitt County is long overdue, as the board has many questions for them, particularly regarding curtailment during severe weather.
Well, we're looking forward to having a discussion with them. We thought we were going to see somebody from Enel in March, and here we are. Rolling into August, they are scheduled to be there, so we anticipate, representative from Enel to be there to answer some of our questions. And really, the biggest topic that we have is that keeps coming up is the curtailment of the wind towers whenever we have weather situations. And we've had, I think, one fine that we proposed to them. They paid, but there's been multiple instances where, again, the curtailment hasn't happened. Several, I think 2 to 3 just in the last 45 days. One situation was, it was in Logan. The severe thunderstorm warning was in Logan County. Well, the agreement says if it's in Logan County, they still curtail. Another was, the National Weather Service didn't advise us that it was a weather situation that we needed to shut down. So there's definitely a lack of communication in the process that's set up. It seems simple. You have a severe weather situation in either Logan or DeWitt County, and they said they could curtail at any time. We're just not seeing that. So we want an explanation from them is, if this is just a communication problem, let's fix it at that meeting. Let's come out of that meeting with an agreement of how it's going to be handled. And then if it's not followed, we can easily follow up with fines. Now the fines to them are, a $5,000 fine it's a lot of money, but to them, we don't feel like it's a lot of money because they're not following what they told us they could do, and that's making a lot of people angry.
According to Matthews, this issue stems from the county's ordinances not being well written, and the county is now paying the price for that. He notes this is an issue of public safety.
It is a safety issue. We've seen situations before in surrounding counties where the wind towers have messed with the radar, especially we saw that in Macon County before, and we don't want that to happen in DeWitt County. And that was a point of contention from day one when the wind towers were being proposed. And as we hear another project is out there potentially and being told that could happen in 2028, we got to take care of this one first and get things in line so we would have better language in a new agreement if that ever comes to fruition. But there's some things that we knew going into it. We're not tied up good. We're not written well. and we were going to have to deal with it. This county board would, and we're seeing that come through now.
Matthews designated Land Use Committee Chair Joe Whitty to lead the conversation with Enel. Matthews hopes to come out of the meeting with Enel representatives with answers and a path forward towards better communication.
As you mentioned, Mr. Whitty, so the Land Use has put together a group of questions that they have. A lot of them are around curtailment. But instead of, all 12 board members firing questions and, maybe not having the best meeting that we could have, is Joe's going to speak on behalf of the land use and their questions. All the other board members will be able to ask questions as well. But to me, it's trying to figure out, who are the people that are involved on a daily basis there, that when we have questions, we can get them answered. It doesn't take 60 days, 90 days, or longer for somebody even to respond to an email. So they want to be a good community partner. They want to be involved. Well, we don't see that. So for me, it's who can I call today and get an answer from? I want to know who I can pick up the phone, or who Dee Dee can pick up the phone and call to get some of the simplest questions answered about, a situation we may see that day versus, well, let's talk about it in a month from now. It's not a partnership that is good for us or the county. And so I hope to come out of that at least with some commitments from them that if you need something, pick up the phone, call this person, and we can get answers back to people quickly.
Matthews has invited Enel to make any presentations or remarks ahead of the questions from the county board. Unsure of how much time they will take with that, he hopes the discussion wraps up within an hour this evening. The city of Clinton took a step forward Tuesday night towards rebuilding Kiwanis Park. Last month, the park playground was demolished after it was determined it was unstable for use by the community. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton City Administrator Taylor Baxter told Regional Radio the City Council Tuesday night was presented with two designs to choose from.
It got to the point, as we talked about before, is just it became a liability and a safety hazard to the kids. So it was decided as a group, and Commissioner Ballinger made the final call. Hey, you know what? There's just too much going on here. We need to take it down. But part of the rebuilding process was last night, and we had two great vendors come in, Cunningham Recreation, and then a couple of members from the Melanda Group came in, and they just gave their proposals. We had Commissioner Ballinger and Commissioner Wise. They did some field trips to different sites and got to see really what the different companies had to offer, because you can see it like on a cutout that they bring to a presentation, but you actually get to see the equipment and see it installed. It's a different story. So saw a couple different sites and wanted everybody to kind of hear what they saw as well as what they're proposing for the new site. And it's going to be pretty special, whichever direction they decide, which they should be deciding here pretty soon on the council, and we should vote on it, I think, next meeting. Yeah, it's a pretty substantial project. So yeah, unfortunately it was torn down, but what's coming in is going to be very special, and it's going to be a statement for sure.
Baxter was impressed by both proposals and says no matter what the council decides, both playgrounds are going to easily fill in all the space at Kiwanis Park.
Regardless of which way they go, both proposals had very, very this grand, because that was a huge playground that was there.
That was a massive
playground. So you can't
yeah.
just tear that down and have this dinky little, it wouldn't fit the whole area. A lot of people have memories. So both proposals kind of had that castle theme, which was, we budgeted, quite a bit of funds, $500,000 for this project. So part of that's going to be the equipment and the different features. Each company had different features that they proposed, but one of the big aspects of this playground is being ADA accessible. And ADA is more than just wheelchair. It's sensory, it's vision, it's imaginative play. That's one of the terms that one of the vendors used yesterday. So part of it is going to be in a poured-in-place rubber surface. What that is the soft, squishy surface. It's not going to be wood chips. It's not going to be the rubber that we have in other playgrounds. So the playground area is going to be in that poured-in-place rubber, and we're going to have some swing sets, and that's going to be more in the wood chips, because when you think about swing sets, kids are dragging their feet. They're not trying to vandalize anything. It's just that's what you do. When
it's
you
just the wear and tear of it. Yeah.
So over time, that poured-in-place rubber is going to get significantly just worn out. Exactly. And so we felt like wood chips would be a better option for that portion. So part of it poured in place, part of it wood. Really big features. The playground's going to be massive. It's It's awesome. Once you see the picture,
sweet.
It's pretty special.
According to Baxter, the city was anticipating the playground would need to be replaced and had the money budgeted to replace it.
Yeah, this has been in the works for a while, and we knew that this day was coming, so we budgeted that for this year in our budget. We knew, hey, Kiwanis Park, we're going to try to Band-Aid it as long as we can, but we kind of knew in the back of our mind that this was coming. It was over 20 years old, and you could kind of see signs that. So when we were going through our budget process, we talked with council, we talked with staff, and yeah, it's time. So we budgeted that for this year.
Initially, city officials thought they could potentially see movement on the site before the end of the year, but Baxter Tuesday told Regional Radio equipment will take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to arrive. Then they will need to also prepare the sites as well. Right now, they're unsure if they should start the playground as soon as equipment arrives or wait until the spring. The council, though, will make its decision on the playground next month. The DeWitt County Farm Bureau's final fundraiser of the summer is this Saturday. Grace Clark is the manager of the DeWitt County Farm Bureau and says their tractor drive is the second biggest fundraiser of the year. This year it's in Wapella, and after the drive, they will host their annual meeting.
Our tractor drive, and that is our second biggest fundraiser of the year. And this one is really fun because it is led and organized by our DeWitt County Farm Bureau Young Leader Group. So that's going on this Saturday, and location change, we're going to be in Wapella. So the past few years we've been at our fairgrounds here at Clinton, but the young leaders wanted to switch up the location this year, and we're going to be at Wapella. So we're going to leave the Wapella Park around noon. Is when the tractors will depart, and then there'll be a halfway point at White's in Waynesville, and then they will end back at the Wapella Park, and then that evening is going to be our annual meeting for the DeWitt County Farm Bureau. So it'll be a packed day. It's going to be really fun, but it's kind of the last of all of our summer programming really for the year.
Clark says the annual meeting will start around 5 p.m. at the Wapella Community Center. It will feature a pork chop sandwich meal, and Senator Sally Turner will present at the meeting.
So that evening around 5 o'clock is where we will have our annual meeting for the DeWitt County Farm Bureau. And that will be at the Wapella Community Center. And we are going to be able to provide a really delicious pork chop sandwich meal thanks to the Clinton FFA alumni. They've done that the past few years, and it's been a great hit. It's our chance to kind of provide the highlight of what we've done in this past year within DeWitt County Farm Bureau, but it's also a great member appreciation as well for all of our members. You're welcome to come if you would like. We're going to have a speaker as well. It's going to be Senator Sally Turner. So we look forward to hearing from her and see what she wants to share with the group. But it's going to be a fun evening and just enjoying the evenings together as DeWitt County Farm Bureau.
Senator Turner plans to inform farmers on what's going on in legislation that might affect them, like carbon sequestration and the reduction of soil and water conservation funds.
I like that the most is listening to what's on their minds, and I'll provide them on the 24th. That's our annual meeting with just some information about what I've seen that could affect farmers, like the aquifer, the reduction of soil and water conservation district money that was cut in a huge amount, and I co-sponsored a bill to reinstate the $4 million for them. So I know those are two things that they're concerned about, and those are some things that we'll talk about. And of course, not only the aquifer, but how that carbon sequestration and pipeline would affect them.
Clark notes multiple FFA chapters will also be in attendance to highlight what they are proud of from this summer and what they're looking forward to for the new school year ahead. If you are interested in attending, call the Farm Bureau at 217-935-2126. Visit DeWittCountyFarmBureau.com or visit their office in Clinton. News time is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday morning. We've got more to come here for this morning, including a new program at Warrensburg-Latham High School that is mentoring first-year students, and Maroa-Forsyth's first-year superintendent is focused on relationship building and establishing culture at the district in northern Macon County. Those stories coming up still in news this morning.
Still time for summer savings at Baum Chevrolet Buick. This is Scott Baum. Our goal is to make your purchase decision easy. That's why we have our prices posted on each and every car. For August, see our summer savings posted on each Chevrolet car, truck, SUV, crossover, and EV, especially the sporty Trailblazer and the all-new Chevy Trax. As always, our Silverados are in stock and ready to work for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City, right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday. I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded 7 o'clock newscast. Maroa-Forsyth schools are back in session, and with a new school leader at the helm, staff and students will be getting to know him as the relationship-building piece moves along. Superintendent Adam Ibbotson is learning of his staff at the school and is learning they are very passionate about their school district. He wants to set some specific values that go along with the district's existing mission statements.
Yeah, I think as I kind of enter into year number one, I think it's foolish to think about, well, I want to accomplish this project or there's something I really want to do, a physical part. I think it's more important about this relationship building, to understand and getting to know the people, and then kind of setting the tone for what we want to be about. What are our really core values? The district has a mission statement of cultivating this passion for learning where everybody can reach their unique potential. And that's a great mission statement about what we do and why we want to do it. And there's core beliefs that filter through that. But I've really wanted to establish, what are these values? What are the things that really hold true for Maroa that we want to hang our hat on? And I asked my administrative team, and I've talked with different people around the district, and I come back to an old idea that I'd like to bring back to the forefront, and that's the idea of excellence and pride.
Excellence and pride are two words front and center of the school building when you walk in, and Ibbotson says there's a lot to like about that.
When you walk into the high school, there's the Trojan head and the helmet, and then there's a circle that goes around it, and it says excellence and pride. When you go to the grade school at Forsyth, it says excellence and pride into the floor. And just asking some questions about that in the past, I've kind of gravitated towards that. And I think if I were thinking about values that I would want for all my students, all of the faculty in our community, is to focus on those two pieces. And those are things that Dr. Holmes had talked about when he was high school principal at Maroa, and those are things that have continued to be around the district. So my take on those two things is the idea of chasing after excellence. It's not really about being perfect. It's not about making sure that you do everything right. It's about really doing the right things, the good habits of how you want to be a student, how you want to be a faculty member, and how you want to be a community member. When you go places, you represent Maroa-Forsyth. And I think chasing after excellence is something that's never going to be like a final piece, but it's more like a journey along the way, not a destination.
According to Ibbotson, not everyone can chase excellence, or he says everyone can chase excellence, rather, no matter their role in the school. He believes the pursuit of excellence creates good habits and good people coming out of their schools.
And I think that creates kind of this growth mindset for people that if you're chasing after being excellent, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I could be in my pre-K classroom and working with the littlest kids. I could be up at the high school working with seniors. I could be in the middle. I could be a driver. I could be a cafeteria worker. I can be a custodian, district office. It doesn't matter your role. Everyone can chase after excellence. And that's about doing the right things over time and not doing them right. So I think sometimes we get locked into this perfection idea that we have to be perfect in what we do. I'm not asking for people to be perfect. I want them to chase after being their very best. And I think that pursuit of excellence is important. And I think if we try to instill that in our kids, I think that will go a long way to helping them establish habits that are treating people well, that they're going to treat people with respect. They're going to work hard at what they do. They're going to put their very best effort forward. That is the type of value I want to be about instead of this perfection mindset.
Ibbotson believes when the community or school is out, they represent Maroa-Forsyth, and if they're pursuing excellence, they can take pride in all that they do. Freshmen at Warrensburg-Latham High School are being prepared for the challenges of school thanks to a mentorship and a new program in the school. Warrensburg-Latham School's Superintendent Cheryl Warner explains Link Crew is a nationally researched program that helps bridge the gap between middle school and high school. It also allows the opportunity to build mentoring relationships between a freshman and an upperclassman.
Yeah, so Mrs. Moody is our high school counselor, and one of the things that was in initial stages of planning, along with her and one of our history teachers, Mr. Johansson, last spring was bringing a nationally research-based program called Link Crew, which is a program all about transitioning freshmen into the high school in a successful manner and building relationships with upperclassmen in terms of a mentoring connection. So they spent 1 day in the spring and then 2 days during the summer training 26 juniors and seniors that have become Link Crew leaders in how to run this program with our incoming freshmen, which they began on Monday. So Monday was not a school attendance day for us, but it was a special day where all freshmen came to school for an orientation with their Link Crew leaders.
School counselor Adrian Moody says this time of year can be very busy with incoming students, so it's a relief to have Link Crew leaders who are there to assist freshmen because it lightens the load for the counselors.
I'll tell you, like, the start for a school counselor, any staff in the school is super busy, and I can't tell you how, like, this year was such a difference having this program and feeling like we had these upperclassmen that we could, tag in to help support our freshmen. And, what a great, the purpose of it really is helping our upperclassmen, like our students, lead other students and make connections with them and helping them, have a great successful first day, but then also a year-long program that will help them, be successful academically and socially throughout the whole school year.
Regional Radio heard from some of the Link Crew leaders who are taking this year's freshmen under their wing.
Well, to start, so Ms. Moody and Mr. Johansson started introducing us to this program and explaining a little bit of what it would be about. Then they finally announced it officially to everyone, and we went through an interview that was like nothing else. Then finally, out of so many people that applied, there were 26 of us selected. So after that, we did our May training and 2 days of training, and then back in May, Ms. Moody and Mr. Johansson came up to us and were like, we think you would be a great leader to just based off of our interviews and our applications.
Moody envisions the students in Link Crew now becoming leaders when they become juniors and seniors. She's excited to see this program grow and evolve. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. A look at sports comes up next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Tim Walz has accepted his party's vice presidential nomination. He did so last night at the Democratic National Convention. Tonight, all eyes will be on Kamala Harris when she accepts the party's presidential nomination. President Trump rallies today in Arizona. Yesterday in North Carolina, Mr. Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, joined the former president at a rally in Asheboro. There are concerns that a Canadian freight rail strike could impact the supply chain not only in Canada, but here in the U.S. as well. A French destroyer has rescued 29 crew members from an oil tanker that came under repeated attack in the Red Sea. Iran-backed Houthi rebels suspected in that attack. Ukrainian President Zelensky says Ukraine's forces have taken control of another settlement in the Russian region of Kursk, taking more POWs. On Wall Street, Dow futures are up 23 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Last year, Heyworth football had a season to remember, going 7-2 in the regular season and hosting a first-round playoff game. Under first-year coach Scott Godfrey, the Hornets are working towards an Encore performance. Coach Godfrey indicates this summer has been spent getting to know his new athletes and installing his system.
We used all 25 of our contact days. I mean, we thought it was important to get our schemes offensively, defensively installed and really to get to know the kids since, for so many coaches, everyone was going to be new. So a lot of this summer was about getting to know the kids, them getting to know us and kind of getting the base of what we do installed. We're learning a lot, learning about them each day, and we return a good nucleus from last year's team, which is positive. Anytime you can return some guys with varsity experience, it always makes you sleep better at night. So, we're finding our guys, can can handle a little more, or a little extra scheme added on there. And so hopefully we can see that growth where we're getting better from week to week, and we're a significantly better team 10 weeks from now than we are today.
Coach Godfrey will want his Heyworth football team to control the football in the running game. Defensively, he wants his kids flying around to the ball.
Offensively, a couple of things. We want to run the ball, and we want to be physical. That's kind of, we'd like to establish that as our identity if possible, and really take care of the ball. We know how valuable keeping the ball is and not turning the ball over. And so kind of our focus has been on, running the ball well, which was a strength of the team, I believe, last year, and continuing to have that punishing style and take care of the football. Flying to the ball and creating turnovers. I mean, it sounds like just a repeat of the offensive thing, but we want to limit the big plays. So our defense, we're not going to try and scheme ourselves out of position or do too much. We want to keep the football in front of us, cause turnovers, because we know that winning that turnover battle, usually spells a win for a team. So we're working at taking care of the ball offensively and defensively, trying to work that ball away from the team while limiting big plays.
The Hornets will return to their quarterback from last season, who has multiple years playing varsity football, as well as several players on its offensive and defensive lines.
Calvin Andrews, he's a junior, returning two-way starter on the O-line as well as a linebacker. He'll be a huge leader and player for us. Jared Fulcher, he's a sophomore O-lineman, D-lineman, was a two-way starter last year. I'm expecting him to have a pretty good year. We return our quarterback and junior Parker Bell, and this, like I said, is his second year, under center, which is nice to have a guy who's been there before. Braden Brucker running the ball at running back as well as safety. He's a junior as well. Then Hunter Bockelman as a linebacker and a running back as well. I think those guys are kind of some ones who have really, early on showed some leadership and some really good things. Their competitiveness. I mean, they have some goals for themselves and want to see it through. And so far, every day they've brought it to practice in that mindset. And so they've done a really good job of preparing for this offseason, especially during this long stretch where you're only seeing yourselves every day and you're not getting that weekly game.
The Hornets will open the season hosting Fisher on Friday, August 30th. Corey Lee hit a tie-breaking two-run single that highlighted a four-run ninth inning as the White Sox snapped a four-game skid with a 6-2 win over the San Francisco Giants on Wednesday.
Here's the pitch, swung on and lined back up the middle. Robert will score. Benintendi being waved around third. He'll score, and into third goes Julks. Ball gets away from Chapman, but Bivens backed it up, and Corey Lee comes up huge with 2 RBI for 2 White Sox.
Luis Robert and Andrew Benintendi drew consecutive walks off Eric Miller with 1 out in the 9th. Andrew Vaughn reached on an infield single. Miller would strike out Gavin Sheets. Then Lee singled on a 2-2 fastball from Spencer Bivens, giving the Sox a 4-2 lead. Lennon Sosa followed with another 2-run single to seal the win.
Sosa lines one through the left side. Julks will score. Lee coming home. 6-2, the White Sox lead it.
Robert and Sheets had 2 hits apiece. Vaughn added 2 RBIs as the MLB worst White Sox won for the 3rd time in 9 games. Rookie Frazier Allard retired 3 batters and earned his first win in the majors. Former Giants reliever John Brebbia, the last of 5 Chicago pitchers, worked the 9th as the White Sox closed out a 2-4 road trip. White Sox leadoff hitter Nicky Lopez tripled off the wall in center field to begin the game and scored on Benintendi's ground out. After a sac fly by Vaughn in the 4th inning, he made it 2-0. The Giants tied it in the bottom of the inning with 2 runs off Sox starter Garrett Crochet. San Francisco's Gerard Encarnacion and Taro Estrada drove in runs off Crochet in the 4th. Crochet allowed 2 runs and 4 hits in 4 innings, striking out 4 and walking 1. Following an off day, Chris Flexen faces the Tigers on Friday. The Sox have lost each of Flexen's previous 18 starts. Hear Friday's action on WHOW. Nolan Arenado hit a grand slam in the 10th inning to give the Cardinals a 10-6 comeback win over the Milwaukee Brewers Wednesday night. Arenado's 5th career walk-off homer and 6th career grand slam gave the Cardinals their 2nd win in their last 8 games and snapped a Brewers 6-game winning streak. The Brewers led 6-4 after Joey Ortiz's 2-run double in the 8th inning, but the Cardinals capitalized on Devin Williams' control issues as the Brewers closer suffered his first blown save of the season. Williams hit Wilson Contreras to start the 9th, and St. Louis tied the game at 6-all with the bases loaded walks to Matt Carpenter, then Tommy Pham. Ryan Helsley pitched a scoreless 10th. Cardinals starter Kyle Gibson went 5 1/3 innings while allowing 2 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 2. Pham's sac fly scored Arenado to break a scoreless tie in the 4th inning. Mason Wynn followed with an RBI single to make it 2-0. Arenado had 3 hits and a walk to extend his on-base streak to 20 games. Ortiz had a sac fly in the 5th, and William Contreras' RBI double for the Brewers in the 6th tied the game at 2. Jackson Churio's 2-run single in the 7th gave Milwaukee a 4-2 lead. The rookie went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs, scored a run, and stole his 18th bag of the season. At 20 years and 163 days, he became the youngest player with a 4-hit game since Juan Soto in June 2018. Lucan Baker's 2-run homer in the 7th inning tied the game at 4. It was Baker's first career pinch hit homer and 3rd straight game that a Cardinals pinch hitter has gone deep. St. Louis is also the last team to turn the feat in a stretch from April and May in 2021. It was Baker's first at-bat of the season since being called up from AAA Memphis on Tuesday. The Brewers will turn to Freddie Peralta in Thursday's game against Cardinals right-hander Miles Michaelis. Riley Green, Trey Sweeney, and Kerry Carpenter homered, helping the Tigers beat the Cubs 8-2 Wednesday night. Detroit won for the 7th time in 9 games, bouncing back nicely after losing 3-1 to Chicago in the series opener Tuesday. Green, Sweeney, Carpenter, and Parker Meadows, who had 3 hits from the leadoff spot, were among 7 left-handed batters in the Tigers' starting lineup for the matchup with Cubs right-hander Jameson Taillon. Brant Herter, the second of Detroit's 5 pitchers, worked 3 2/3 innings for his first win in his 4th Major League appearance. The 6'6 lefty was struck by Saya Suzuki's comebacker in the 6th, but stayed in the game for one more batter. Chicago, which is trying to make up ground in the race for the NL Central wild card, dropped to 10-7 in August. It had won 3 of 4. Christian Betancourt hit a 2-run homer off Herter in the 5th, but the Cubs left 6 runners on base on manager Craig Counsell's 54th birthday. Taillon pitched 5 innings of 6-hit ball. The Tigers broke it open when they scored 4 runs in the 9th against Jack Neely in his big league debut. Green singled home Zach McKinstry before Carpenter hit a 3-run shot on a 3-0 fastball for his 12th homer of the season. Detroit jumped in front on Sweeney's first homer in his 3rd Major League game. With Jace Young aboard on a leadoff walk in the 2nd, Sweeney drove a 2-1 curveball into the basket in center at Wrigley Field. The ball bounced back onto the warning track, and Sweeney stopped at 3rd before the umpires confirmed it was a home run. Sweeney, a first-round pick by the Yankees in the 2021 amateur draft, was acquired in the Jack Flaherty trade with the LA Dodgers last month. The Louisville, Kentucky native played ball at Eastern Illinois and had his parents in the stands Wednesday night as a part of a large contingent of supporters. Green capped Detroit's 4-run second with his own 2-run shot, a 422-foot drive into the bleachers in right center for his 18th homer of the season. It was the first hit for the All-Star slugger since he was activated from the injured list on Sunday after being sidelined by a right hamstring strain. Justin Steele goes for the Cubs on Thursday in the finale of a 3-game series. The left-hander has a 1.23 ERA in 14 2/3 starts in 3 August starts. The Tigers have not announced their starting pitcher for today. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast.